These are last weeks before all attention will revert to the World Cup that is set to take place in India. So every team is getting their combinations in place. And these last few matches will be the perfect opportunity for all those gaps to be filled and tweaks to be made so that teams put their best foot forward. Now for India, the series against Australia is going to be the perfect curtain raiser for both these sides. India is coming off a win in the Asia Cup, a tournament that was usually a T20 affair. But what was turned into a 50-over format, considering this to be a World Cup year. India wasn't really tested in the tournament, but they did tick a few boxes that were worrying them, like KL Rahul's form. Though India is not completely out of the woods as far as its middle order is concerned, Shreyas Iyer is yet to get a game and announce his return. But Rahul's 100 would have calmed some minds. Australia also has its share of worries. Firstly, the loss against South Africa. They were leading the series 2-0 before they relinquished control and lost the series 2-3, something they wouldn't be all too pleased with. They have injury concerns with Travis Head. Marnus Labuschagne has been called up in his place. Their pace attack also has some worries. Skipper Pat Cummins has not played a single one-day international this year, nor has Mitchell Starc since the India tour. Josh Hazlewood isn't looking at his very best either. Now let's take a look at the fixtures then. Now India plays Australia in Mohali first. It's a fabulous stadium. I've been there. It's a slightly flattish track. So enough runs on the cards with the pace attack coming into play. They next move to Indore. That's where the second one-day is played. Again, not a track that normally turns. The third one-day will be held in Rajkot. Well, that famous press box there, symbolic of the Lord's copy. But it's a massive stadium that will have something for everyone to make it an exciting contest. Now, to shed more light on this contest, let's cross over to one man who has been an integral part of the Indian squad in the past. He's former India fielding coach R. Sridhar, joining us from Hyderabad. Welcome to Firstpost, coach.
Hi, Rupha, and it's a pleasure to be there on Firstpost, sharing my thoughts and views, and wishing you all the very best on your new journey.
Thank you so much, coach. The very first question that I have to ask you is, obviously the selection, the team was selected, was announced for the Australia 3 ODI series. Your thoughts on Ashwin's inclusion and how important is a presence of someone like Ashwin in India's World Cup setup?
Look, honestly, I was a little surprised at Ashwin's inclusion because I thought they'd announced the World Cup squad and I didn't see it coming, honestly. Although I quite second it because I didn't see Ashwin's inclusion coming in the ODI series versus Australia. But I think Ashwin's presence in a dressing room is invaluable. I mean, he is someone who thinks 360 degrees when he's part of a cricket match, and he's quite ahead of the game as far as his thought process is concerned. At least, well, I used to talk to him. That is the feeling I got. So having Ashwin in the change room is always going to be beneficial, no matter which team it is.
The other sort of person we have to speak about is one name that was excluded from a unit that he was already a part of, which is Sanju Samson. Again, someone we know, we've seen the talent and the promise that he holds in that batting lineup. How big a miss is it to not have someone like Sanju Samson? Do you think that he should have been included at least in this Australia series, if not the World Cup?
Yeah, it comes as a surprise because he went for the Asia Cup as a backup to KL Rahul. I think just the fact that KL Rahul is fully fit now, and he may want to keep wickets in all the 3 games, going by the fact that he hasn't played international cricket for quite a bit now. So he may want more and more game time. And with Ishan Kishan being there in the squad as well, they thought maybe they thought that there's no place for Sanju in that combination. And Sanju has been left out. But having said that, you feel for Sanju, someone who's got a very decent one-day average at a very decent strike rate. Unfortunately, there's so much talent in India, that has been the boon and the bane for Indian cricket, I would say. But yeah, I feel sorry for Sanju, but it is how it is, and he has to keep moving on.
Sridhar, we always talk about India-Pakistan rivalry, but what about India-Australia? You've been part of that core dressing room. What were the talks like about them taking on a side, about India taking on a side like Australia?
I mean, that's a big rivalry. I mean, India-Pakistan rivalry, yes, it's huge. emotionally for the country. And in my opinion, India has always had a upper hand in that rivalry. If you see the scoreline, our scores are way ahead. Obviously, one or two games occasionally we lose. It's a sport. But India-Australia rivalry, there is a lot of mutual respect. There's a lot of mutual respect, and the quality of cricket, in my opinion, is really high. Right up there with the best cricket that one can ever watch on television or live. Going by what I have seen and felt in the dressing room, players make their own plans. I remember once, just before the 2015 World Cup semi-final, I remember Talat Dhoni once telling the team in one of those talks that when you play against the Aussies, you have to play against their ego. You have to make them play on their ego. That is something which we spoke about, and I think the players are very sharp. Someone like a Kohli is very sharp to catch the weaknesses of the Australians, and he has their pulse. He knows when to go after them. And we have, as a team, did realize that you have to get under the skin and go after them, play a very aggressive brand of cricket against them. And that is what Kohli has done against Australia, and he's been really able to succeed enormously against that team and also get under the skin in terms of irritating them. Rishabh Pant was someone who's always successful against Australia because he took the attack to them. So was Bumrah. So is Ashwin, for all you know, very aggressive in his mindset and in his bowling plans. He knows in and out of the Aussies how they play. So although there is mutual respect for the quality of cricket, but tactically they're always fighting for the one-upmanship. A lot of talks in the change room about usko kahan khelna hai, isko kaisa khelna hai, isko kaisa khelna hai, about how they are mentally as individual, as a team. But always what we speak against Australia is ego. Make them play against their ego. That is something which you always speak, and that's something I remember.
Rohit, you mentioned Virat and Ravi had this whole thing of being aggressive, and you have to be aggressive to take it to the Aussies. What sort of a captain do you see Rohit to be in the same position?
I think, make no mistake, Rohit is also very aggressive. I think sometimes we tend to, look at people's body language and we can't get enough of their mindset. Rohit is as aggressive as any captain you would want. He's aggressive with his bowling moves. If you see the other day when Siraj was bowling, what fields he had. I mean, that shows the kind of aggression he's got. So he would go down hard as well. He also knows, and he's been part of those series wins, and he knows exactly how to approach a game against the Aussies. So he will go all guns blazing while he's playing against the Aussies as well. Very aggressive. You may not see it on the camera, but definitely he will be very aggressive as well in terms of his approach and in terms of his plans, his game plans, and his tactics, which is what will shine through. And Rohit obviously is in a good space now. Indian team generally, if you see, once the ICC trophies come, they really lift themselves. Obviously, we have stumbled at the last hurdle, but the ICC trophies, I think, bring the best out of the Indian team. So you will see some excellent cricket in the lead up to it, which is what we are talking about now, the India-Australia series.
Well, to wrap up this particular conversation, what are the little mini battles that you're looking for? Of course, it's India versus Australia, but the little battles between bat and ball that you're very keenly that we are going to witness and that you probably would call. Are there any grudges there that we can look forward to?
Well, there will be a lot of grudges there. There will be a lot of players who want to say, like, I've got to get one-upmanship on this player. I'm looking for battles like Bumrah versus Smith. I'm looking for battles like Ashwin versus Warner in this series. And going forward, let's see how that goes. I'm looking for battles like Siraj versus Labuschagne. That's going to be very interesting. I'm looking for battles like Shami versus, Head is not there anymore. But, some of those top order batters like a Cameron Green or like a Mitch Marsh, Shami versus Mitch Marsh, that's going to be interesting. I'm looking at how the Aussie middle order are going to handle Kuldeep in the last ODI. Kuldeep is not there for the first two games. But I'm looking at how Ravindra Jadeja is going to be as a vice captain of the team. Obviously, Rahul, great finisher. He's had some great performances against Australia in ODIs in India. Looking for how he's going to be against the likes of the Cummins, the Starks. And I'm looking at Stark versus Rohit Sharma. That's going to be a very interesting battle. Stark versus Gill. I'm really looking forward to those battles. And Adam Zampa against Virat Kohli is another battle. Obviously, I'm looking forward in the last game of the series.
All right. Thank you so much, Sridhar, for joining us and with your thoughts. I'm sure we are all excited for the series, and we'll see how this plays out.
So am I, and wishing you all the best covering the series.
Right, and India-Australia clash is always going to give us some amazing moments for sure. Yes, it's the big contest, but what are the mini battles within the encounter? The first involves our comeback man. That's David Warner and R. Ashwin. Now, they have hardly faced each other in the ODI format. So, in the shortest one, what does it look like? Yes, 38 runs is what David Warner has managed, and he's gotten out twice. Of course, Ashwin has dismissed Warner more than 10 times in the test format. So, that'll be an exciting clash. The other battle that we would love to watch, and it probably will play out in the third match, is Virat Kohli versus Adam Zampa. The spinner has had Virat's number on a few occasions. 230 runs Virat has managed to score, and he's gotten out 5 times. And then the interesting face-off, captain versus captain. We love such battles. Rohit Sharma versus Pat Cummins. 160 runs is what he's managed. He struggled a bit with his strike rate, 73 there, and has gotten out a couple of times to Pat. Now let's wait and watch how these battles play out.